Hey, what's up, all of my real estate peeps? I want to welcome you to our 100th episode of the Why Not Real Estate podcast. And today I have a dynamo rock star guest, Yunri Swerik. And during this interview today, we laughed, we cried. There were times that I was absolutely speechless because she really hit deep on so many levels. Normally, an interview this long, I think it's about 2 hours, I would cut in half and do in 2 episodes. But this one is so good that I'm going to leave it as a whole episode, and I really want you to be able to experience and enjoy it. We just recorded it, and it was amazing. So I'm going to leave it in its entirety, and I hope you get to enjoy it. If you're driving in your car, great, you'll be able to enjoy it. If you have the opportunity to sit down somewhere and just relate to this, get a notepad, and every time Yunri asks a question, write it down, because I need to answer these questions for myself. Today was definitely a Sherpa moment, a journey, and I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. And here it is, our 100th episode of the Why Not Real Estate podcast, and here we go. Hey, what's up, all of my real estate peeps? This is Brian Lucier with the Why Not Real Estate podcast, where we interview seasoned real estate professionals, sometimes beginners, sometimes billionaires, where we believe investing in real estate is one of the best asset classes in real estate. However, on many shows, I have been shown the light and proved wrong. So today is super, super special for me in my heart. I have a guest on this show years ago. I hope she calls me out on it. She told me to get off my knees, stop doing tiles, and just get out there and do it. So I'm going to let that be part of her story. So here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a super special guest today. Today's guest is known as the Elevated Oracle. She empowers visionary leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers to embody their highest potential by merging spiritual truth with tangible creation. Her work goes beyond teaching concepts. It's about anchoring new paradigms of leadership and reality creation through energy mastery, deep alignment, and quantum expansion. She guides those who are ready to break subconscious limitations, fully step into their own power, and create limitless success and wealth, leadership, and impact in their lives. I know this for a fact. With a deep passion for coaching and uplifting others, she has led individuals worldwide to transform their lives and achieve abundance, wealth, and their own unique definition of success. Her transformational coaching accelerates results for those who enter her world, helping them align with their highest purpose. Beyond her work as an energy expert and coach, our guest is an experienced real estate investor with a strong background in private ventures and commercial investing. This woman is amazing. Having owned and operated multiple businesses, she brings expertise in sales, recruiting, training, networking, and 100 other things that aren't on this piece of paper. She is just amazing, with a specialty in coaching top performers. As a dynamic speaker and powerful energy healer, she blends profound wisdom with magnetic presence, inspiring and activating those seeking quantum transformation. Her work is a catalyst for those ready to elevate their lives, businesses, and leadership to extraordinary new heights. Her company with her husband, The Elevated Human Experience, was founded in late 2022 by this visionary husband and wife dynamic duo dedicated to empowering individuals to align with their highest potential in their lives of purpose, passion, and prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, all of my real estate peeps and rock stars, It is my pleasure to welcome to show 100 today's guest, the co founder of Elevated Human Experience with her husband Matt, the Elevated Oracle herself, Yunri Swerik. Yunri, welcome to the show.
Wow, wow, wow. First and foremost, I am so grateful and honored to be here with you, Brian. And wow, what an introduction. Feel that energy. Oh my goodness. I'm so, so honored that I'm also the 100th guest on your show.
Yunri, that was a wonderful intro because it mirrors you,
Mhm.
all of your energy. Every word there is true, and there's more that wasn't said because I'm giving you some props here. Our first conversation, I remember it vividly. It was maybe 10 years ago. I was doing a tile job on an outside porch, and you and your husband were starting to get into real estate. You were thinking, should we flip? Should we do multi? You were just kind of getting your feet wet, and you were calling me out way back then, 10 years ago, saying, you got to get people to do that for you. You got to hire people, and you got to stop doing it yourself and get to your higher purpose. So even back then, this was your destiny to be who you are today.
Isn't it amazing how like we get to experience the unfolding, right? Because that was like such an unconscious competent thing. When I connected with you, I remember that day so clearly as well. I think at that point in time, we had like three doors and we were just getting into fixing and flipping. And of course, you were very highly involved you were the president of the Northern Worcester County Landlord Association. So you had all the information that we were seeking. And here I'm talking to you and you're telling me that you're working on your hands and knees tiling and just the brilliance that you had, right? The amount of knowledge and heart and the way that you spoke. And again, you were leading that organization. And I'm like, Brian, do you know how many people you need to share like yourself with? I got to tell you, there's even way more stories than that because I'm sure you remember when Matt and I visited your house. I'll never forget. You come up and you said, Jan, look at this. And you literally showed us your business book. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, and then I dropped it and it made a loud noise. Yeah,
You remember that?
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, why are you doing what you're doing? Do you
Yeah,
remember that conversation?
yeah, and here you are calling me out, and you were 100% right. And for those viewers who might be seeing this for the first time, she nailed it. And now I'm sitting on a beach overlooking the Caribbean, and I've got crews. And again, I'm not saying this to say, "Oh, wow, is me" or anything like that. But it took somebody else to see my potential and hold up that mirror and say, "Hey, you have something going on, and you need to do it." And if you can find someone in your life, who's going to hold up that mirror and show you who you could be, your true self, pay attention. Don't just go back to the normal.
Yeah, you don't attract those conversations. And Brian, I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful that I'm on the 100th episode. I'm grateful that you're there with your beautiful wife that I got to reconnect with, living in Aruba, going back and forth, building your business, and most importantly, sharing your knowledge and your wealth of wisdom with all the people that are listening.
I had to. I had to. I mean, you can walk the beach so many times and talk to so many coconuts, but if they don't talk real estate, you got to reach out. So the show was born out of I need to unpop this cork and just share what's in there. And here we are doing it. So let's get started. I mean, we're going to have a lot of fun on this one. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to ask you your first question.
Of course.
And I know the answer, but this is for everybody else. What did you used to do before becoming involved in real estate?
So before real estate, my husband and I, we were actually owning and operating a dry cleaners for about 13 years. I mean, before that, he owned a sales company, a door-to-door sales company that I worked as a sales girl with. And we literally ran a small business. And those of us, I mean, why do we get into real estate? A lot of us get into real estate because we get married to a job or even a business. So many people get into business wanting time and freedom. And what I didn't realize, I wore all the hats and I was literally married to the business. And I'm sure you remember this. We had two daughters at the time owning and operating the business, the dry cleaners. And that's the reason why we got into real estate. First and foremost, we owned a small business. We didn't have a retirement plan, which a
Yes.
lot of us in the small business world can relate to. You don't have 401k. You're not really thinking about investment. You're on the day to day, cash flow in, cash flow out, and you're kind of managing. And after kids, I'm like, oh my God, like we got to start thinking about retirement. We got to start thinking about the future. And it was a great cash cow business, but we had choices that we needed to make. So that's exactly why we got into buy and hold. And that was the first step into real estate.
So here you are, you're a business owner, very smart business owner. You're wearing all these hats, you're doing the sales, the marketing, everything, right? The butcher, the baker, the
Mhm.
baker. So what influenced you to turn towards real estate thinking, hey, this might be something we could do?
The seed was planted into me a long time ago. I think my mom actually was like, it literally planted the seed. But now the seed, even though it was planted, it wasn't something I was aware of at all. But we had a decision to make whether we were going to take our money and put it into an investment to buy real estate or take our money and put it into a 401 or Roth IRA or some type of, traditional retirement fund. And I wanted more than just a regular traditional retirement fund. I wanted to create wealth. And I knew in my heart of all hearts, in order to create wealth, I had to get into investing into real estate. And I got to tell you, I'm so grateful that I did. So grateful.
So what was it about real estate that you thought would, get you to the other side of that problem or solution rather?
So we learned a lot of lessons because what first started was, oh, just get some rental properties. It's passive income. Let's be very honest, right? Just get some rental income. If you buy some multifamilies, you'll get some tenants, and all of a sudden they pay you rent, and you now have passive income. How many of us fell for that trick? So, yes, I fell into that trick and that world and realized, whoa, it's not passive, but it's an amazing vehicle.
Absolutely. And I tell this to people all the time because I'll get calls, hey, I want you to manage my property. I just bought it. It's like, wait, wait, wait. This is not a spreadsheet. You just bought a service business. Because everybody says, oh, trash tenants and toilets. Wait, wait. I've never had a phone call from a toilet. It's always been a person. And, those interpersonal skills, and you're a master. Being able to talk to people, listen to people, understand people, and not say, "Oh, it's my building and we're going to do it my way." That's not it because it's somebody's home. It may be your house, but it's their home. So, real estate was the seed that was planted. You drank the Kool-Aid, you got some rentals, and then it was like the blue pill, the red pill, and you figured out, holy smokes, the red pill is not everything they told me it was supposed to be. Unpack that a little bit.
So
What,
yeah, we started with a three unit first. And the realtor that we had at the time, which was amazing, I'm sure you remember Kelly O'Keefe,
oh yeah,
she was and it's funny too, because every property that I bought before that, because I had, I was a homeowner and I bought a condo, every property that I bought, I never used a real estate agent until Kelly. I remember going to an open house and I was so impressed by her knowledge and her negotiation skills and just her people skills that I'm like, okay, I need to work with this lady. Not only her people skills, but her knowledge and investments.
mm,
Right. And what I really appreciated about her is she worked with us until we found the right one. And it was kind of a journey because we looked at so many, and even times that she backed us away and was like, this one is not good for you. And I'll tell you why. And so during that process, we learned a lot. Now, the interesting thing too, she saw something just like I saw in you. She saw something in Matt and I. And she said to us, she said, this was after we purchased our first property in Fitchburg, our first 3 unit. She shortly said, I think you should come over here and check out this property. I'm actually at an open house of an investor client and they fixed and flipped it. And I would love for you to come check it out because I think this is something that you and Matt would be really good at.
mm.
Again, somebody sees something in you that I wasn't even thinking about, right? And then all of a sudden, um, someone drops a seed and we went to go look at it. And that seed was planted. Now, the funny thing is, it's not like we got into it right away. We didn't go into fixing and flipping right away. As a matter of fact, this might be a little bit of a long story, but Matt and I were owning and operating a dry cleaners. We were working 6 days a week. And we literally took a vacation for maybe 3 to 4 days right around 4th of July. Because we wore every hat, it was such a pain for us to take vacation anytime. We paid for it before we left and we paid for it when we got back. So, and the only amount of time that we could really take off was 3 to 4 days. I mean, even on our honeymoon, we went on a honeymoon for 3 days to Bermuda, right? We worked the day of our wedding. Like literally worked the day of our wedding. Matt got a burn on his head the day of our wedding, right? That's how like we were hustling and grinding. And okay, so we get into the whole thing. She plants the seed. During this time, we were literally camping. Our joy was camping. So we would go tent camping and just go into multiple places. And I got sick of like sleeping in a tent, right? Because we would go tent camping and the water would come and we would literally feel like we're floating around. And I'm like, I don't want to sleep outside anymore. So at this point in time, we started to look at hybrids or some, like RVs or whatnot, just to be able to go on vacation and sleep on a camper versus a floor tent. And I remember this so clearly. We were looking at one, and there was one of our customers that were actually selling one at a really good price. And so we were very close to buying it. And we went to go look at it. We were very close to buying it. And then this feeling came through me. And I said, Matt, we can't buy this. And he's like, why? We've been searching and searching. He says, why? And I said, because we're going to buy this thing. Oh my God, it makes me emotional. We're going to buy this thing. This thing's going to sit on our driveway. I'm going to stare at it every day to know that I can only take it once a year. We're not doing this. I said, we got to get out of the dry cleaning industry. We got to do something different. Even though it was a cash cow business, we were trying to get employees to fill it. And it really was a struggle for us to kind of manage and maintain it and get it without us being so involved. So at that moment, we pulled away. We did not buy the camper, the hybrid camper. And you know what we ended up buying? We ended up buying a $33,000 course for fortune builders, how to fix and flip homes.
Okay.
What's really wild, and this is the thing that I want to teach people, the energy of investing in yourself. That was really a very, very high price for us. I remember having knots in my stomach, almost wanting to throw up because we've never invested $33,000 on a program ever. I don't think we've ever invested anything above like $1,000 on anything that we did, to be very honest with you. Like it was something that was very foreign to us. But we just knew this belief that we wanted to get out of our current situation. And we knew that we wanted to learn that there was a better way. Now, what's really amazing is when we invested that, what that did for us, not only did we learn, but it wasn't much of the learning. Now that I look back at it, it was a lot of learning. But what it did was once you start investing in yourself, you're really telling the universe that you really believe in yourself. So then all of a sudden you start attracting people, places, and opportunities. Like shortly after that, Brian, is when I think we met you, right? Shortly after that, we started to like meet different, we started to go to our Real Estate Investor Association meetings, and we started to meet different people, started to gain our knowledge. And even taking that course, I remember so many struggles that I had because people were like, oh, use other people's money to fix and flip homes and use other people's money to do this. And in order to be a great investor, like you got to do A, B, C, and D. And I couldn't wrap my head around it because I come from a world, like I'm an immigrant that came from Korea here at 6 years old. And I was raised by parents that worked 20 plus hours a day for the American dream. So all I knew was hustle, 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 save. Hustle, 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 save, right? That's the program that was operating me. So the idea of like investing and borrowing other people's money was so foreign, let alone investing my own money to do something, right? That wasn't a tangible item or that wasn't a step. Like everything was so confusing. And yet we believed, and one step after the other, we just kept taking action, one step after the other. Now, what's really interesting is I remember going to the Real Estate Investors meetings, association meetings, and taking people out, investors out, lunch, dinner, phone calls, whatever, just to pick their brains. Because again, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I'm like, okay, I have some cash. I need to find a property that I can buy so I can fix and flip it. I can, and the whole idea of getting into fixing and flipping was to buy more rentals, right? That was really the goal.
Sure.
So I wanted to understand it and I couldn't understand it. And then finally, one day, I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting on this cash. It's doing nothing for me, right? It's doing nothing for me. I have opportunity to lend this money out, and I'm sitting and holding on to it because I'm looking for the perfect, perfect fix and flip opportunity. It's funny how the universe works. So I finally, when we made a decision, we said, you know what? We're going to be a hard money lender. So we lent money out. So we decided to lend money out. We start receiving interest. No lie, probably 3 weeks after we lent the money out, we get our first opportunity to purchase a fix and flip. There's no better learning than taking action. So all of a sudden, one of our ads, somebody decides to call, and it's such a silly thing because at that time, the seller of the home wanted $50,000. Okay, now mind you, Brian, what can you buy for 50K now? It's kind of silly,
Right.
right? You can't even buy like yeah, you can't buy anything for 50,000. But I remember being so scared. I'm like, okay, this caller, we have this opportunity to buy this fix and flip home, and we just let money out, right? All the money is gone, and I need to purchase it and pay for the rehab, right? So now we need to come up with like however much money, like I don't even know, right? I didn't know what I didn't know, so we get this opportunity, and we're like, okay, like what do? We just lent the money out. So we get it under agreement, and this is so funny. We did our first wholesale.
Okay.
So we're like, okay, what do we do with this? Okay. I remember the nervousness and being so scared. And then I'm like asking questions. And then there was another person that's like, oh, I'm interested in that. And I'm like, oh, will you buy the property off of us? So we made our first $15,000, taking the $50,000 property and selling it for 65. And then
Beautiful.
shortly after, Kelly brings another property and she's like, here's another property. And I'm like, oh, this one was like 165,000. I'm saying these numbers, which is not realistic in today's days, but just for people to know. So we get the first property that we fix and flip, and that's really where fixing and flipping started. And then that allowed us to go get another rental, right? So we picked up another three family. And
So,
that's kind of where it started. But Brian, I don't even know if you know this. And as you know, Matt and I were sitting as board of directors with you as well for Northern Worcester County Landlord Association. So we were going to those monthly meetings. We were learning a lot. We were networking. And I'll be very honest, I learned a lot of what I didn't want going to those meetings,
yeah.
right? Attending those meetings, I saw these investors that were investing for a really long time, and they were very happy with maintaining their buildings the way that it was. And one of the things that I really take pride in, and I still stick very true to, is I don't want to own a property just to get rent, right? The money and the rent becomes the result of the good that I can do. And so I wanted to purchase a property and make it habitable to a place that if I had to live there, I would be more than willing and happy to live there,
That is a good
right?
land. Yeah.
Yes, and I saw a lot of landlords that didn't feel that way. And I also saw a lot of landlords that were sitting on 3 or 4 or 5 units for a really long time, and you could see the stress. There was a lot of people complaining about a lot of things, and I'm like, this doesn't feel fun to me. Do you know what I mean? And I wanted something different. And it's so interesting because this is where like the mind opens up. And I don't know if you know, but you actually connected us to Mike Marchetti, who ended up becoming one of our greatest partners because Mike connected with you. You said you got to meet Jan. And he came into my life the first year that I actually became a licensed real estate agent to actively practice it. And so I got my license to access MLS to find more fix and flips and to buy more rentals. And then during that time, the whole goal was to really sell the dry cleaning business and get out. So I got into sales. Probably I started training in 2016. And then I started to get into sales actively at the end of 2016. And I said, Matt, we just need 1 year. Like, I just need you to support me and the family, like watch the kids do whatever it takes. Let me just go and be a real estate agent for like a year because that's going to give us an opportunity to sell the dry cleaners, right? And give us confidence to sell the dry cleaners. It was crazy because it was almost to the date, a little after a year. By the end of 2017, I had drummed up real estate business. Like I had such a pipeline, and and which is another thing. I met Mike. I was helping him purchase properties, and by the end of that year, I looked at Matt and I said, "Okay, we're ready. Let's go sell the dry cleaners." and then going to sell the dry cleaners. And they said, oh, you need about 6 months to 3 years because with commercial real estate, it may take a long time. We don't know. And this is kind of the history with, small businesses and all of this. And I said, oh, I don't want to wait 6 months to 3 years. Like, no way. So I went and seeked out a buyer, and then I got a buyer. And by March 1st, which was my birthday, right? March 1st of 2018, we found the buyer. And by March 1st, we were out of there. Or
Yeah.
February, I found the buyer, and by March 1st, I was out of there. And then this is another crazy thing. This is how the journey takes you. Well, the real estate office that I was working at as a real estate agent, mind you, I came in as a part-time agent. So I came in as a part-time agent. I only took the trainings that I really needed to. I did what I needed to do to drum up business and become a great real estate sales agent. Well, my owner broker of the Keller Williams Merrimack Valley office was also a customer of mine at the dry cleaners. And she actually was coming into the store, her and her husband as customers, but she also saw what I was doing in the real estate business because she saw me come in and then she saw what I did and she was watching me. So when she found out I was selling the real estate business, she says to me, she says, Yan, have you thought about ever being a team leader? And I'm like, no, I don't want to be a team leader. Let me even back up. This is so funny. So there was a guy by the name of Ryan Snow who was my team leader, who's a phenomenal guy that was running the market center. And I learned so much from him. And it's so interesting. He also wrote the book Miracle Morning for salespeople. I think it's Miracle Morning for Salespeople. He co-wrote it with Hal Elrod. So
Right.
he did a lot of training with Hal Elrod. And for those of us like Ryan Snow is a phenomenal guy. He's like also a coach. He's an amazing entrepreneur. So he trained me in real estate. And it's funny, like I said, I attended several of the classes. And one of the classes that I went to, there was this thing called a KPA, which was like a personality assessment, Keller Williams personality assessment.
Okay.
So I take the personality assessment, and the funniest thing, he's teaching the class, he's teaching the whole thing, and he puts the paper down in front of me and he says, I guess you'll be my replacement. This is so, like, you can't even make this up, okay? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And evidently, when he was going through the class, I came out as a high match for team leader. And at that point in time, he wasn't thinking he was leaving. I was nowhere near thinking I was going to be a team leader. Like it's just very ironic how things happen and how our words turn into reality,
Bingo.
right? How our words turn into reality.
Yeah. We're
There are no coincidences. It's all mathematical. It's all laws of the universe. And this is I mean, you cannot make this up. And the precision of the laws of the universe, there is no gray area. It's so precise. So,
you're in this class, you take this KPA, you rank off the charts to where your instructor comes to you and says, looks like you're going to be my replacement.
yeah, like literally, he's like, I guess you'll be the next team leader, right? And I mean, he has big visions and dreams. So I'm sure he was either thinking he was going to purchase the market center, he was going to, it wasn't at that point in time like he was thinking of leaving, but this is how words matter. And the guy is doing phenomenal because he left. That was the reason he ended up leaving. And then my owner operator, because he left for different opportunities. And then the owner operator that owned the whole market center and whatnot, saw me coming into the training, was witnessing the deals that I was doing, and then said, Yan, have you ever thought about being a team leader? And immediately I rejected it. I said, no way, Claire. I'm not a team leader. I sold the dry cleaning business because I'm going to grow a sales team. Because at this point in time, I had a stacked in pipeline of all these closings that were going to happen. And I was on a roll. So I'm like, I got to build a sales team. I got to get buyer's agents. Like I had all these visions of like, I got to grow the sales team. And the vision was that Matt was going to, grow the fix and flip and really put his energy there. She was like, are you sure? And she was really good about it. She just kept planting the seeds. I feel like you have a question. You want to ask me?
No, I'm just,
Okay. So yeah, so she
I've heard
keeps,
all these stories before. I'm like,
it's so interesting, right? So I'm like, no, Claire, I'm going to do this. And she goes, I just think that this is something that you would love to do. And I'm like, no, I'm here to do the sales. She goes, why don't you talk to a few people? So I started to talk to a few people that were running sales and that became a team leader. And really what my reason why I took that position, because prior to then, Brian, I never worked for anyone else. Even when I worked for Matt, it was a 1099 and I was a sales. So my biggest issue of actually taking that position was I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to work under someone. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I have never worked, like I never had to report to anyone. And she was like, I don't want you thinking like you're reporting to me. I want you to think of it as a, as a partnership because I really want you to have autonomy, right? She wanted me to lead it, recruit it, coach and train it. And so I started to speaking to other people, and then my mind started to open. See, when something comes up, really seek and just open your mind to the curiosity as to what is possible. Because my mind started to open, and then this was a turning point for me. I'm sitting down with Matt and I'm talking to him, and I'm like, Matt, what do I do? Because he knew this opportunity was here. He knew what we were actually doing. And he said to me, he goes, Jan, you're really good at what you do. And he said, you can just easily grow a sales team. I understand that. He said, you love helping people. And I see how you're helping people when you help them purchase a home or sell their house. He said, what would it look like if you were able to help them with their career by being a team leader? He said, and it makes me want to cry. He said, you try it for a year. You don't like it? Come back. You know, you can build whatever you want to build. To have a partner that believes in you, as you can tell, I'm emotional because I haven't revisited this memory, in a little bit. But that was really the turning point, and that was the reason why I said yes. Because I said, Matt, if I do that, there's a lot for you. Like I have to be at the office, which means we had the flexibility being with the girls, all of this stuff. I'm like, it's gonna be a lot on you. He said, a year, just check it out. You never know.
Wow. Because I know from Matt's story, you gave him the same opportunity as well. You guys, you're magic.
And that's really,
You're magic together.
but I'll tell you, it requires work. And for those listeners, I want to really, really emphasize this. It didn't come easy. Our relationship, we put a lot of work and energy, and we had a lot of challenges. And yes, we can talk about real estate, we can talk about everything. But the most important thing that matters is relationships. Relationships. Relationship with yourself, relationship with someone higher than yourself, the God that's within you. Relationship with your partner, your spouse. How many people are living in marriages or partnerships that they don't have a relationship? So many people chasing things, and things are breaking at home. It doesn't last. Success outside does not last. It actually starts from within, and it has to start from within. So a lot of these real estate investors that are listening that are very successful aim to work at the balanced life. And if you're there balancing it with amazing relationships and amazing success, share your knowledge with others so people realize how to prioritize.
Wow.
It really was not something that came easy. But the thing that cures it all is communication.
You're hitting
it cures
all
it all.
buttons. I mean,
because I've had so many nights, Brian, where my heart was broken, where I was confused, Matt was confused. I mean, we've been through a lot, and what I so love is that right now, through a lot of the work, we're at a point where we're so open to share our deepest and darkest secrets with each other. Right? We had to go through so many things that were hurting each other without even realizing we were hurting each other. And it was all part of our own personal development journey. And I would love to define marriage or any partnership where two souls come together to empower each other to live out their best life, supporting each other. Right? Because what I didn't realize for so long, Brian, is we also had a very codependent relationship and marriage that was so intertwined that we got lost along the way. Like I didn't know my true self. He didn't know his true self. And so as we created that space and we really allowed each other to discover our own selves, and we're in that journey now, like our marriage just gets better and better. And it shows up in our relationship with our children. It shows up in our relationship with our business partners. It shows up in our relationship with our clients. It shows up every single where. because we're committed to becoming the best version of ourselves, and we're allowing each other to create the space for each other to do the same.
Yunri, the energy that you're bringing to this show is, I don't know if you want to call it a deja vu or whatever. I journal every day now, every day. And a lot of the words you're saying, I know I've written down. So,
You manifested this conversation through me. Great job, Brian. That's how it works.
well, my heart is pounding. I don't know if you can see it here, but I got goosebumps all over me. And the funny part is we're only on the first question.
Wow.
So yeah, this is a gift to me. So I want to say thank you. Even before we get to the end of the show, thank you, Yunri, because I needed to see you. This is
Thank you.
cool.
God is so good. Never, never, ever, ever too late, never, ever too early, always on time. So for those listeners that are listening that you think shoulda, coulda, woulda, no. Even the challenges, and if you're in a hard time now, it's actually a gift for you as you give yourself permission to commit to the fact that there's a better way, right? Making the decision that there's something better out there for you. The hardship is the gift because those are the lessons that we get to learn and then share that journey with others.
I knew you were going to bring some wonderful, wonderful energy here. I'm so happy. So I'm going to keep going here because we only have 5 more hours to go to maybe 6. I don't know. So I would have asked, were there any other influences that brought you to real estate? Because your mom planted a seed. You went to the training course, 33,000. That's a big chunk. Were there any other influences? Yeah, I mean, you mentioned so many people who had an influence on you. So, you know what? Let's
Yeah.
go ahead.
You know what's funny and interesting too? Matt and I never spoke about it, but evidently he was also influenced by one of his fraternity brothers who also planted the seed with him when he was actually thinking about where to, think about retirement, if you will. So this is the funny thing is that there were seeds planted in each of us and we never talked about it. It just came about. And my mom actually had a three family in Fitchburg, and then she ended up moving, to Leominster, and I saw glimpses of that as well, right? And I saw glimpses on what she purchased it for and where the value was, as when she sold it. And so there was just a lot of influence. But when I think back to, did I have close people that were very heavily involved in real estate at that point in time? Not really. It was us seeking it, and it was us having the opportunity to go to these investment groups and just to learn that we started to meet people like you and other investors that was having major success that we wanted to emulate. We were just like, first and foremost, you have the stigma that you have, okay, that there's this kind of idea you're afraid to be vulnerable and walk into places of successful people, right? And you're like, well, I'm a nobody. I don't know anything. Why would they share their time with me? They have all this wealth and this knowledge. Like, I remember being scared. And then I remember actually doing it and being blown away and so surprised of how open everybody wanted to share. And now I know why people that are really successful are extremely successful. It's because they carry the energy of abundance. Like really successful people want to share their knowledge. They want to be able to help you because the reason why they got there was somebody helped them. The biggest thing is actually giving your own self permission to take action and surround yourself with those people, right? And that's another thing that we're getting really big on is epigenetics. What people don't realize is your environment is so important. Your environment is actually so much more important than just studying your mindset or understanding energies because those energies are quantum entanglement. So the people you surround yourself with, even your home environment, the environment in your mind, understanding what you're actually getting for input into your mind is so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And small example, we moved here. You remember what I used to look like. I was 300 pounds.
I know. That's why I said you was the half of you.
Well, it's out there somewhere in the universe, but it's not coming back. So, to your point, the environment I was living in wasn't conducive to a healthy me. And that's just weight loss. But finance, health, wealth, abundance, relationships, family, spare time, hobbies, seeing yourself, liking yourself, all these things, if you can, you know, hold up that mirror sometimes and not just see the person in the reflection, but see the person inside that reflection. And, you know, I got to give you some props here because I have seen you in a room with investors, real time, real life. And your energy when you're talking to people, I mean, nobody knows unless they really know you, but you're not a very tall person.
I'm 5 feet.
Your energy is monumental when you walk into a room because there's something, I mean, you call it attraction or whatever, but just the way you engage in people and how you bring out people, you know, that person inside that person, the way you're able to connect to them and just, hey, you, like me doing tile through a telephone, you called me out and said, you got to stop doing that. And you got to do this, 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 and this. So that is a gift that you have. And it's something you see in people. And anybody who's watching this podcast today, I got to give you the props on that because they don't know you as I've seen you in a room. And I can just imagine the energy that you're pushing out these days because that was way back when you're telling me you were afraid and scared and didn't know any better. And now you walk into a room, it's like, oh, no, no, this is my universe.
Yeah.
You know, I got this.
Yeah. But Brian, you know what it is? I love people. I love, love, love people. And just to share a backstory, not only am I an immigrant from Korea, but I was actually born really sick. And when I was born, my mother had a lot of complications. And the doctors handed me to her and said, you're going to have to take her home and watch her die. And that's how my life began. So you cannot make this stuff up. My memories of Korea was me being very lethargic, getting IVs in my arms. I actually have scars all in my arms because I would go every single day to get IVs for 2 to 4 hours just to be able to breathe. That was my memory of Korea. Then we came to America, and I remember so clearly. And I mean, if I told you my life story, we would be here for 6, 7, 8 hours plus more. Yet I remember being afraid because my family, there was 25 of us, give or take. Like there was a lot of us from our family that came all at once to America in 1985. And I was, 6 years old at the time. But I remember very clearly because I was so sick and I had a hard time eating food. I remember my uncles and my aunts being like, if you don't eat and gain weight, we can't bring you to America. And at that point in time, they were just saying it so that I could eat. But can you imagine the fear that I had as a little kid that my entire family was going to leave me and I wasn't going to be able to go because I was sick and I couldn't eat. So a lot of these things were trauma that was built to my cells that I wasn't even aware of. But the crazy thing, and again, this is destiny, complete destiny, because in Korea, I would go to school and my mom, again, she couldn't afford doctors or specialists that could help me and save me and cure me. So she took me to energy healers and psychics as an infant. Even before that, I want to just kind of go emphasize like the biggest issue that I had was I had this benign tumor that was growing in my belly. And again, I couldn't breathe. I had these all health issues. And my mom, Brian, this is going to get deep, but my mom, she prayed and she would take me to energy healers and psychics.
Just breathe.
And one day she found a doctor that was willing to do the surgery. And he was just somebody that was willing to take the risk just to help her out. So the guy took the tumor out. There are no records. The hospital doesn't exist. The doctor doesn't exist. What existed was a scar on my stomach that's haunted me. I had so much emotional trauma growing up as a kid, as a girl, so many insecurities, so many things that I had to overcome. It's wild. And I couldn't breathe, but I prayed a lot. I remember, and so many things that have unlocked just recently, even. I remember, like, even 4 weeks ago, I said, Matt, holy crap. And he's like, what? I said, I just unlocked a memory of me sitting in these triple deckers, like being home, not being able to breathe, and saying, 하느님 살려줘. 하느님 살려줘. And what that translates to from Korean to English is, God, please save me. God, please save me. So God's been saving me my entire life, and He has blessed me so much. At age 13, I also went through an emotional trauma where I had friends that really backstabbed me and hurt me and stole from me. And I went into a massive, massive depression. Again, I was 13 years old. I overcompensated my own insecurities and my trauma with my personality of being outgoing because I wanted to be liked and I love people. So I had friends all coming to my house, and I was a very much of a social butterfly and working hard and dealing with health. Like, I had a lot of energy, as you can tell, right? That I had to exert.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And at age 13, my mom took me from one school system and put me into another one where all the friends that I knew, she completely took me out and put me into another school system. And I was mad. I was livid. And I was, I'm going through my punkish ages, and I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. Hated it. And at that point in time, my best friends, who I consider my best friends, stole from me, not once, but twice. And do you know how I found out? I lived in a triple decker on the first floor, and one of the neighbors upstairs said, I'm 13 years old, like freshman year in high school, said, bring me your yearbook. I know who did it. I saw it. I bring them the yearbook, and they point right at my best friend and my other friend and said, these girls. What broke my heart, Brian, was not only did they betray me, but this is what broke my heart. Because they didn't just steal from me, they stole from my parents and my brother. And remember, my parents were working 20 plus hours just for the American dream. So the guilt that I had, and the reason why my parents took me away from that school to another one, was because they didn't like who I was surrounded by. And I literally was so angry at them.
So the friends who stole from you were at the old school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your mom did the right thing.
She had an intuition.
Yeah.
And then it's so wild. I went through a depression for like 6 or 7 months. And this is so beautiful. And again, these are all blessings. Painful at the time, but I can't even express to you, like, they're my greatest gifts that I share with you. I'm so grateful for these incidents. I can't even express my gratitude, because 6 or 7 months into it, right now I'm like 14 years old, or however old I am in freshman year. 6 or 7 months into it, I remember so clearly being so depressed. And by the way, I had complications because my entire body on the left side, it broke out into crustaceans because of my emotional stress. So I didn't go to school for a couple of weeks because literally my entire body broke out of, like, it looked like crustaceans because I was so under so much emotional stress. But 6 or 7 months into it, I remember I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so like, I remember being so miserable, and I felt frozen in time. What a beautiful gift, because I saw the people that hurt me, their lives were going on. Everyone's lives were going on, and I felt frozen. I was so dark, so deep, so in, and I had such dark thoughts that everything was frozen. And I said, oh my God, time has stopped for me. Life just goes on. But the people that I'm hurting the most because I'm suffering are the people that love me the most. My parents and my brother. Like, I'm in this house and I'm like, what is happening? And again, the reason why it's such a great gift is this, Brian. I did not imagine this was going to happen today, but thank you, God. I made a decision at that age. I made a decision and I said, I'm not going to allow outside factors to impact my attitude. This was all unconscious competent because I didn't know what I didn't know, Brian. But once I started to understand this, like, everything made sense. And for those of you guys that are listening, start studying yourself. There's no greater gift than to study who you are and what you are, because you will understand that everything that happens in your life wasn't by accident. It was by divine design. Shortly after I made that decision, I started to see angel numbers like 1111 everywhere, especially 1111.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember seeing it as little kids. And every time I would see it, Brian, I don't know why, but I would repeat this thing in my mind. And I would say, I hope everyone I know is happy, healthy, and successful. So it became an automatic thing. Like I would see repetitive numbers, and I'm like, oh, I hope everyone that I know is happy, healthy, and successful. Well, guess what? 95%, over 95% of our entire behavior is all pattern behavior. And what shows up in our reality is our belief system. So I've been programming myself to create the frequency that is in my body to be able to serve in the way that I can serve now. So when I say that all of those pains that I went through, I would do it again 10 million time folds to be able to know what I know and the lessons that I learned, to be able to find my gifts, I do it tenfolds all over again.
So powerful.
Because that one decision, that didn't mean all of a sudden my attitude just was like, "Oh, I have the best attitude." No, that didn't. It doesn't happen. What happened was, it became my guiding compass. So when we make such an emotionally impact decision, not a woohoo decision, this is something I also teach. There are so many different levels of decision. But when we make such an impactful decision, like that decision that it's like no turning back, you make that decision, what ends up happening, it actually starts to really create your reality because there's only two things that create your reality: decisions and habits. So everyone that's sitting in this now moment, why you are there right here, right now, is because of your past decisions and your past habits, period. So what happened was when I made that decision, it became the compass. And no matter how bad I lost my attitude, it always worked back to get it back into a good attitude. And attitude, I just want to, just for those out there that's listening, like, what is attitude? It's your thoughts, your feelings, and actions. It's a composition of all three, not one out of the three, but all three. Your thoughts, your feelings, and actions. Something that I learned through the great studies of Bob Proctor, right? It's a composition. So, an attitude is the magic word. It really is the magic word. And so when people said, I love your energy, I love your energy, I thought it was the bubbliness, right? I thought it was because I'm so bubbly and outgoing and I love people. But what they truly felt was my attitude, my frequency, the energy that I emit because I believe, that the belief that I have in people, the belief that I have in others, my love that I have for other people.
You've turned up the volume beyond 10. And
Yeah,
just who you are.
I am me.
I don't think you woke up this morning thinking, oh, I think I'm going to just like 10 times my attitude and supersize my heart. And I think I'll help 10 times more people today. No, I don't think that's how you're programmed or wired. You're just present in that moment and you're aware of who you are, where you are, and what you're doing. So
It
simple.
wasn't always like that though. It wasn't. Even when I go back to, wow, even okay, so as a team leader in Keller Williams,
Okay.
right? At this point in time, I'm fixing and flipping homes, right? Matt is up, running some of the fix and flips. He's running the sales team. I'm working with him. We have the whole team leader, that whole role, recruiting. I have two kids. Like life was, busy, very, very, very busy. And I was working a lot of hours. And literally, I had a coach at the time that Keller Williams, and that's why there's so many blessings in my life. Keller Williams, as a team leader, they hire coaches so that they can, teach and train you. And I was literally drinking out of a fire hydrant, learning and learning.
Oh,
And I
wow.
had a coach at the time that asked me one question that really shifted me. The one question he asked me, it's so important. He literally, on one of my calls, and I was being coached by him for months, but this one question changed my world at that moment. He literally asked me, he said, Yun, who gets the best version of you? In that question, I opened my mouth and I wanted to say my husband and my children. Of course, I wanted to say that. I could not. I opened my mouth and I had tears running down my face because I wanted to say, why am I working so hard for? It's for my family, my husband, my kids, my parents, and all of this. And in that moment, I realized I'm like, they actually get the worst version of me. By the time I'm home, I'm so tired. I look at the dishes, the food, all this stuff. I'm stressed. I find myself yelling, cranky. They got the worst version of me. And the worst part, I realized I got the worst version of me. I didn't even know who I was. I was operating under all these programs of hustle, go, 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 chasing success, chasing, 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 not even honoring the gifts that were right in front of me. That's really when I opened up to want to learn, who am I? What am I doing this for? What do I even want? I could not answer, Brian, what I even wanted. Yes, I had rentals. Yes, I was fixing and flipping. Yes, I had money coming in from real estate. Yes, all the money was there. I had kids, a husband. From the outside in, it looked amazing for other people. And I was dying inside because I did not know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I was clouded. I had these two beautiful girls that I adored more than anything. And all I wanted was this intimate, close relationship. And I found myself being a militant mom, running the programs the way I grew up. And again, love my parents. They're amazing. They're the most amazing, loving humans. But there's a lot of program that comes with the Korean culture that are not really the most serving in this moment.
And, not just Korean culture, but all of us, we grow up and we look at our parents and we'll say, well, what were they thinking? But for where they were and what they knew and what their resources were, they were doing the best they could.
They absolutely were. Everybody does the best that they can. And I'm so grateful for that.
And now you are.
Yeah.
And I think you brought two or 12.
And that's what it's all about, right? Our ability to really make every generation that much better and better and better. And I'll tell you, in my mind, I do see a world of rainbows, unicorns, and butterflies where our future children get to come on this planet and they realize that Earth is their playground and their classroom, that they're here fully complete to discover more of who they are, what they want to co-create, and how they can learn and how they can share their gifts to share with others, right? Like I see that. I see that and I feel that. And that's my thing is no matter what comes their way, because you know what, there's a lot of people going through a lot of hardship right now. And there's a lot of fear in the, fear. There's a lot of chaos, but I'm telling you, shut off all the noise. And just like you were talking about earlier, go look at yourself into your eye, into not the outer self, but your inner self, and connect with your truth that's inside of you and allow that to emerge like a butterfly and birth that, because that's what's waiting to be birthed. And that's what the world needs. The world doesn't need another version of me, another version of somebody else. That this world needs each and every single human to birth their unique individual butterfly of their gifts, their truth, and their talents.
Amazing stuff. Yunri, you know we're only on question number 2, right? No, but this is beautiful. I mean, you're sharing so much I didn't even know about you. And yeah, I've teared up a few times off camera here as well. So thanks a lot. But all right, let's just exhale for a sec.
Yeah.
You are bringing real heart. So thank you. And, people who are seeing this, they're hoping, just like I am, writing down these questions that you were asked, you didn't know the answer to. And I'm writing down these questions that, gee, I don't even know that answer for myself. So this is going to be a show I will watch again and again. and I'm partaking in it just so I can learn from it. I'm going to do my best here to get to question number three.
Okay.
And then it's your show. Whatever you want to say, whatever you feel, wherever you're moved to go, it's your show. Okay?
No, and I really think it's a mirror, Brian, right? I want people to really, what more than anything else, is allow you and I to be an example for what is possible. When you start letting go of limiting beliefs or any falsehoods and go after your dreams. And as a matter of fact, I met another gentleman by the name of Stefan, who is an unbelievable speaker and coach. And he said that he used to give presentations, and he had at this point in time, they weren't really using a lot of PowerPoint. So he had those flip charts. And
Okay.
he said he would end the presentation with one question on the flip chart. And I think this is a beautiful question. And I love what you said, because it is through great questions that all these amazing things exist, right? Our mind is such a powerful thing. And when we get really good at asking great questions, our minds will really create the solution for it for us to be able to experience. But this question is so profound. It's, who is struggling because you're not dreaming big enough?
Wow. I'm just writing this one down. I don't want to lose this one.
And it's so true, because can you imagine, the bigger we all dream and the more that we chase all of each other, our own dreams, all the dreams start to connect. And I truly believe that each one of us is that little piece of that mosaic, right? And when you pull back and everybody's living in their truth and their gifts and dreaming big, can you imagine how much more beautiful it just expands into that beautiful mosaic canvas that we all get to experience, because each and every individual commits to dreaming big and believing that they're deserving of it?
Wow. Amazing. And, I'm sitting here saying amazing, but internally, I'm thinking, you know, who is suffering because I don't dream my biggest? Like, what would that look like if like for me, I'm at a point now where I'm starting to paint again. I'm starting to create again. I've connected to that person back in myself that you probably didn't even know existed in there. And if I move forward with that, whose life can I impact, right? I have a dream in my head. Hopefully it'll come to fruition. There's 3 orphanages here on the island. I would love to set up workshops where I go in for a day, set up a bunch of tables, and just these kids who maybe have never been seen, give them an opportunity to express and create, that they can be seen.
So, Brian,
Yes.
it's not hopefully, words matter. That's something that you can do today. If you really think about it, you're an amazing human being. You have talents, just like you said, of drawing. It's just a matter of either knocking on the door or just making a call, and go and sit there with that exact intention. They're going to feel your heart. Don't wait till tomorrow. That wasn't brought here by accident.
Okay, let's
And this
set
is
a date.
exactly what we,
Let's set a date. I'm going to say September because I've got some crazy schedule things going on in my life. I do have to travel a bit. I've got to go around. We're saying September.
I'm following up on this because we just came back from Tanzania, and Matt has committed to also we're all committed to humanitarian efforts. So when we went to Tanzania, we actually spent the first 2 days at the local orphanage. And again, you can't even make this up. When Matt decided to bring the humanitarian piece to his safari travels, he ends up connecting with a gentleman from Massachusetts that's also connected to Southwick Zoo, who owns an orphanage at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro. Right. So all of his initiatives portions of that are going to help those kids. And we got to spend 2 days with fantastic 32 orphan, kids that are in this beautiful place. And the guy has actually raised enough money to build a brand new facility right at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro. And he's going to grow that to 48 children. And he's now thinking of how does he allocate money to send them all off to college? Like, everything matters. So September, I'm going to hold you to it. I'm going to follow back up with you, but there's a reason why that's being called into your heart. And again, this is exactly why going after your dreams and money does matter, because now you have the opportunity to be able to do the things that you can do, right? To be able to give back.
If I figure all this out and I come down with an operational checklist system, get me to that orphanage.
I'm serious. I'm gonna just like literally connect with Matt. He'll connect you. The guy is like such a servant leader. The reason why he opened, and this is all on another topic, is because of the fact he visited a lot of orphanages. Again, not by design, not was because it was intentional. Somebody showed up in his world while he was hiking in Africa. He took a 5 month trip, and he ended up meeting somebody that walked by with 12 children, and literally said, "Do you want to go to the orphanage?" And he thought he was going to spend three hours there. He ended up spending 3 weeks, and then became obsessed with visiting different orphanages, and then found out like, wait, a lot of these things are not run the way that it should be, where all the money's going in. So he actually created it where 100% of the money is actually going to the kids. And what he's doing is phenomenal. Phenomenal. It's called Coco, Children of Kilimanjaro organization. He's actually shifting the word orphanage to organization because it's got that energy connected to it. So he's shifting it. But his name is Jay. And again, you can't like that's yes, 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 yes.
It's going to happen, isn't it?
It's done. You just gotta take
So
inspired action.
we're already talking about the answer to the next question. So I'm just going to throw it out there as a primer and you can roll. Okay.
Hmm.
So this question is a time machine. If you could go back to yourself when you started real estate entrepreneurial, tap yourself on the shoulder and say, Yunri, do this. What advice would you give to yourself if you were starting over? And then here you are today with a wealth of knowledge, experience, team leader, training, coaching, everything, every gift that you have to offer. What advice would you give to the newbie starting out today? So let's go back in the time machine first, tap you on the shoulder. What advice would you have given to yourself?
So I do believe everything happens for a reason. So there were lessons that we needed to learn, right? So I loved owning the 4 units, the 3 units here, there. Like I loved all that because it definitely served a purpose. Knowing what I know now, and the greatest lesson and the greatest journey is also partnerships and working with people, right? Like I said, you were able to connect me with Michael, which I absolutely love and adore. And our minds coming together and our skill sets coming together allowed us to grow at a rate that I would not have been able to do by myself, like Matt and I myself, right? And so the same amount of energy that it took to purchase 3 units or 4 units allowed us to purchase, 66 units, 128 units, 200 units, right? Because of the skill sets and partnership. So really like finding somebody that like, and trust, and to be able to work together and leverage each other's strengths, I think is one of the greatest assets. And I'll be honest, that's exactly why I'm still involved in real estate today, because he's still so amazing at what he does, right? And gave me the opportunity, even throughout this journey. He's so intuitive too, whether he realizes it or not. He's so intuitive in the sense, as he saw me go into this world of, working as a mentor, spiritual coach, personal development, all that. He came in and was like, Yan, I just feel like I should be taking more of the responsibility. I'll take this from you. You take care of this. And he was able to take on all the tasks. So really partnerships and trusting and thinking bigger. I'm sure you realize that too, Brian. Remember those 3, 4, 5 units, and how much it takes the same amount of effort with the banks and the relationships and the closing effort that it does when you purchase a huge apartment complex.
I just got an offer accepted on a 7 unit. So I may be living in
See?
Massachusetts for a couple of months.
See?
It happens, right?
Uh-huh.
So partnerships, thinking bigger, divvying up the responsibilities, providing entrepreneurial growth because you can leverage each other. And I say that I
Yes.
wrote this in my journal the other day. Here it is again. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It equals like square root of whatever it is. It's multiplied out. One
Yeah.
probably isn't a good number, but you get what I'm saying.
That's
It's
so
not
true.
like this person and this person become this. It's like because you've got energy and you bring parts and you bring parts, you can just like escalate beyond what you ever would have been able to do alone.
Yeah.
Partnerships. So that
Partnerships.
newbie. So here we are, Yunri of today. What advice would you give to that newbie who's starting out their journey?
Really find out exactly what you want, right? Find out what you want. And what do I mean by that? There's so many different ways to get involved in real estate, right? If you have capital and you want to be a silent investor, you can get into different syndications or anything like that and be really passive, right? But if you're really starting off and you want, oh, a house hack, this is something that I wish I did and we did not do. Matt and I bought our first property together and we went into a single family. And at that point in time, we didn't have children. We lived in a, kind of a brand new house. It was like 2,500 square feet. And we literally used our master bedroom that had the bathroom in it and our kitchen. The other rooms didn't even get used for the first 5 years because we did not have children. Now, had like going back, I would have bought a multifamily. I would have bought a multifamily all day, every day. And the funny thing is, we were looking at it when we were purchasing it, and we said, no, you know what? I want my own space, blah, 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 the convenience. But looking back, that probably would have set us on a different trajectory because if you're a first-time home buyer, you're starting off, buy a multifamily, live in it because you're not even property manager, you're just taking care of your home, right? Like you are managing the property, but you would do that in your own single family, maybe add a little bit, a couple extra responsibilities because you have tenants involved, but you're learning and you're building asset and your tenants are paying rent. So that would be like a great advice. That would be probably, yes, the great advice. Partnerships. And if you're starting off, buy a multifamily. And if you can purchase a 3 or 4 unit, I would rather go there versus a 2 unit. Because as we know, that will help supplement if there's no tenant, right? But that's exactly, and then start building the cash flow and start building the equity. I believe it's like the hardest to get to the first 100,000, right? And then after you get to the first 100,000, it becomes easier. And then you get to the $1 million, right? And so it just kind of grows on top of each other.
Really, really, really good stuff. So that's the advice I gave my boys. I said, get a four, live in the cheapest unit, live there for 2 or 3 years, cash out, refinance, do it again. And if you do that 3 or 4 or 5 times, now you're sitting on a couple $1 million worth of real estate. You can buy the house you want to live in, no problem.
Yes.
And now you have everything all set up
100%.
100%.
100%. And if you're a first time home buyer, think about leveraging the bank, right? You get a 3% down, the bank will pay for the rest. Like there are so many benefits. So
Right,
many benefits.
right. And if you're a couple, you buy the first one at 3% down. Matt buys the second one at 3% down. You know,
So good.
so
So good. So good.
so what's the best deal you've ever done? What type of property was it? How did you find it? How did you finance it?
Wow. That's such a great question. I will say, and I don't know if they say this, but if you've been an investor long enough and you haven't lost money, you haven't invested long enough, right?
I've invested long enough.
Right, me too. I've had, yeah, exactly. Whether it was rentals, whether it was a fixing and flipping, right? Those times they become quote unquote lessons learned, right? And we've learned some very powerful lessons. And when I look back to it, I mean, there were deals and for fixing and flipping that, we made six figures in fixing and flipping a home. There were also opportunities with what I love, and this is what I love about rentals. So rentals, a lot of times people will say, "Oh, go into the, class D so that you can get more cash flow," right? Well, yes, you can get cash flow, and I believe it's really the money comes from the equity growth, way more than the cash flow. That's where your money is. Your money, and it's so funny because once I got more and more understanding of the game, yes, the intention is to provide a safe place for people that are living there. And that intention, for us is very pure. We want to create spaces where people really enjoy living there. When I was in Africa, this is so beautiful. When I was in Africa, I received a text from our partner, and he was like, Yun, we turned one of the worst neighborhoods into the fourth safest place. And he sent me a text message with a screenshot. And I literally started bawling because I'm like, that's what it's all about, right? That's exactly what it's about. We actually ended up purchasing a property in one of the worst areas. I want to say it's like 88 units. And our partner was able to get it into one of the safest areas,
Wow.
right? That's what it's about. But I share this because also, yes, that's very important. But where I truly believe you make money is really understanding contracts and the relationship with the banks, understanding how those numbers work, how to refinance, how to cash out. And like when you know this, when you're working with the banks and you're doing a really good job, the banks will actually offer you great terms because they want to keep you. So now all of a sudden, again, everything's relationship, everything.
Well, that 88 unit and turning a bad neighborhood into a good neighborhood, that's legacy type stuff.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
you look back 10, 20 years, be able to point to that moment and say, okay, my life had purpose. My life did matter. I did make that change. And because I dreamt big enough, I affected the life of all those people.
Yes.
I mean, any newbie who's watching this, just rewind and write down all of the questions that Yunri asked. That'll be a really good start for you. Wow. So, do you want to talk about the 88?
Yeah, I mean, the 80 is still going on. It's almost incomplete, like complete renovation since we have taken it over, and that's a really great project. I love them all. Like, I'm like, even the lessons, you know, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I mean, some of the greatest feelings is actually purchasing. We had our first purchasing portfolio, our first 66 unit that we purchased in New Hampshire, Southern New Hampshire, and we brought investors into it. Within 2 years, we were able to bring all the investors' money back. All within 2 years, and then we sold out, and they literally 3x their money. To me, that's a huge win because these investors come into your world trusting you, and to be able to provide these type of returns where they're so grateful, like to me, those are the feelings that matter the most, right? So yes, there's a lot of money involved and you win, but to be able to have those relationships and to be able to give back, like there's so many amazing deals, Brian. Like my brain is going on, and I'm like, well, there's another one that we're about to sell that's closing next month, and that's going to be juicy for the investors. So when you say which one is the best deal, I do believe like they're all great, right? Like they're all great depending on your exit strategy, depending on what purpose you're serving. I love, exiting out of some of the sales and then 1031ing them to another property to be able to grow. And like there's so many different strategies. So I'm sure I'm saying all these, and I'm sure you brought experts that know way better than I do on these type of strategies of 1031, but just get educated. Surround yourself with people that are doing the things, ask great questions, and then take action. How many people, you and I both went to real estate meetups, and there's people that keeps on going to study, but they've never taken action, right? Take action. You're not going to die. I promise. You'll either earn or you learn. I promise. And it'll be a great ride, but take the action.
So, so good. So, we're going to talk a little bit after the recording because I've got some things going on that you probably don't know about, and you're really intriguing me. So, I want to talk about some things after the show, if you have time. So, we're going to keep going here. What was the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome as a real estate investor, and how did you solve it?
Overcoming a huge loss. I mean, between you and I, like I think one of our greatest losses on a fixing and flipping was like $250,000 on a fixing and flip, like right. So that's a hard pill to, yeah, swallow, right? And it was a lesson for us. And I really learned not to attach to anything, any money or anything like that, and just really take the lessons. And as at the end of the day, I love growing. I love learning. I love expanding.
So, you just said something super important, right? So, you've done scores of deals, maybe hundreds of deals, who knows? but there's one that you lost money on. So I've had people on the show who are involved with Silicon Valley, excuse me, joint venture capitalists and stuff like that. And these JVs will come in, and even in the book Psychology of Money, their perception is to come in and invest in like 20 different businesses, knowing that 18 of them, they're absolutely going to lose every penny, and they'll be lucky if they can sell the office furniture at the end of it. But the scores that they'll make off of those 2 out of 20 will be enough to bring everything back up. That's why they play that game. Real estate, we don't take those risks. We're flipped on that. 18 of them will probably be good deals. And okay, so we lost $250,000, but we've done millions of good deals. So yeah, it hurts, but we're going to be okay. The tide's going to go out. The sun's going to come out. Our acne's going to clear up. Clouds are going to open. We're going to hear angels, and everything's going to be fine at the end of it. Before I forget, you mentioned the 1031 exchanges. I had a guest on a couple of weeks ago, Benjamin Carmona. You want to check him out? He is doing Delaware statutory trusts. This was new to me. So picture a 1031 exchange, your normal 1031 exchange. You're going to use a fiduciary, sell, locate, buy, and you've got so much time, right? What if the buy was buying shares of an existing portfolio?
That's amazing.
You don't have the time crunch anymore.
Right.
Say, okay, I'm going to take the proceeds, and not just one, but let's diversify. This one's industrial, this one's residential, that one's commercial.
That's amazing.
What would be a
That's
good one
amazing.
right now? AI data centers, right?
Wow.
If someone's got a portfolio of AI data centers, you 1031 into someone and you buy shares of that. You can check that out. We can talk
Wow.
about that more. We're going to have,
That's amazing.
I'm so glad we hooked up. All right. Where are we here? We talked about that. We talked about that. These are fun ones. Is there a book or reference that influenced you to change your mindset as a real estate investor?
As a real estate investor,
Well,
or
you're
just in general?
probably on, so I'm going to just open it up. And
Yeah.
mindset or whatever. Is there a book that really had an impact on you?
Science of Getting Rich. Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Wattles. So Think and Grow Rich is a really phenomenal book that had an impact on me, but it almost feels like a textbook, right? It's very thick. Science of Getting Rich was a very short but direct, and it really does talk a lot about understanding money, right? Understands energy. Like it really, really helped me big time. I read and reread that book. Power of Awareness is an amazing book. See, I'm a huge believer where I am at right now. Yes, anything studying, anywhere that you're growing is amazing and great for you. But how many people study skill sets or study strategies and never succeed?
Right.
And the reason why is because there's blockages within them. They're not aware as to what's happening. So I'm a huge believer in knowing this is like the more that you can study yourself and the more you can understand yourself, the more that those skill sets that you've learned and you can use them like superpowers. They become like extremely powerful tools. So more than anything, yes, study real estate, go to the networking groups, do all the stuff and study yourself. Study the universal laws. Study how things happen, right? Nobody teaches you about gravity, but every time you get up, you're not thinking you're going to float up to the sky. You know you're going to land and you trust it. Well, understand the universal laws that are omnipresent at all moments in time so that you can understand how this whole thing works and you can understand you and the game that you're meant to play and how to really play that game at a high level.
That kind of sounds Bob Proctor.
So we studied, that was one of the biggest things that really shifted our world. We actually took a course called Thinking into Results by Bob Proctor. That was at the end of 2019. that started to shift our world. And Matt and I became certified consultants and started teaching it. And that's exactly, it shifted our world so much. So we started to teach it and we still teach it. And now we bring quantum and we teach energy in the body. Now we're teaching epigenetics. We're bringing in technology to teach people how to create harmony home, right? Create amazing frequency in their house. We have access to so many things nowadays. So when I'm a huge believer and what I stand for right here, right now is what I like to just quote, and I phrase the word maximum human optimization. When we truly understand how the mind works, how the body works, and how the environment works, like how the environment plays into that, you can really start playing the game to create the maximum human optimization for you.
Wow. You know, so many times in this interview, you have had me speechless. And that doesn't happen.
So, Brian, I got a question though. Do you wear yellow glasses all the time?
No, I wear red, orange, blue, yellow, black. These are picked out by my granddaughter, and you know, we have this trick. Like I'll pick up a napkin, I'll have glasses in, and I'll like put it on, and then there'll be a different color, and then there'll be a different color, and then there'll be a different color. So,
Well, it's so funny because everybody that's watching, I mean, if he was to match his shirt, it would be blue. But this is how laws of the universe work. Like, it wasn't by accident that your granddaughter chose yellow,
yeah,
right? Like, these are the things, like, the signs are always there. We have to slow down to see them. So there's a statement, sometimes you got to slow down to speed up.
like
And that hustle bustle energy leads to burnout. But when you slow down to understand, you will speed up.
you are wearing yellow today.
I know. That's why you had the glasses.
Just like that. And I wore the shirt because I knew that you were going to be full of energy. So it's like, okay, I, I might not be able to be on that show matching her energy, but visually, I think I might be able to get there.
You look great.
I got a ways to go. I've got some goals I'm working on. So we're almost done here. And I'm actually looking forward to finishing the show so I can talk to you. We talked about the books and all that. So what's next for you and why not get started?
So, ooh, why not get? I love that. What's next for me? I'm actually in it. So I created a container called the Elevated Human Experience, and inside of it, we have a community. Right now, people need community more than anything. Find your tribe, people. Find your tribe. There's a statement that I love. You have to do it by yourself, but you cannot do it alone. Meaning you have to make the decision that you're worthy of it. You have to do the work and just create pauses. I love the fact that you're journaling, get into meditation, whatever it is, wherever you can find flow. So you have to do that by yourself, but you can't do this journey alone. So find your tribe, find your people, right? And lock arms and really grow. Give yourself permission to learn who you are and what you are, and then express that, share those gifts. So we have a community called the Elevated Collective. We also have what's called the Elevated Shift, and that's more of a group coaching and online courses so that people can start studying to learn who they are and what they are. I am about to launch what's called the Elevated Circle, and those are for individuals that are already on their soul's mission, ready to lock arms to help create the new earth energy of collaboration, love, and all these different creations. And I also do one-on-one coaching. Now, that's the container of the Elevated Human Experience, but I also have partnerships. Like we just did a retreat in Arkansas. I'm about to go speak in Utah. And so right now, it's all about collaborating with like-minded individuals, right? So I'm all about let's create experiences. I'm working with a woman that I'm partnered with in our business. It's called Quantum Sound Therapy. And they have technology to create harmony, not only in your home, but in the cells of your body to help expedite the process so you can let go of the baggage and really create an environment that's going to support you to who you are and where you're going. So I am on God's mission, right? I literally connect and I get guided and I take action.
Beautiful, beautiful. When I come back to the States, if you're not in Utah or out creating a wonderful planet, definitely want to hook up with you guys. We'll go out Il Forno or something like
Yeah.
that. Have some nice Italian food. My treat. So I asked that. So here's the curveball. What's the question I didn't ask you today that I should have?
Hmm. You asked some really great questions.
Well, you have some really great answers.
Let's see. I don't even know. You must stump people with that.
I do, but sometimes they'll turn it around and just floor me with
Yeah.
their perception and perspective. So I'll come up with one.
Yeah.
If you weren't doing everything that you're doing right now and you had all the money in the world and all the free spare time in the world, what would you do?
Traveling the world and spreading love and light everywhere, right? Helping with kids, elderlies, the disabled, right? And I believe that's all here already for me. I'm just in the process of becoming the person that's responsible enough to do so, right? I see it and I feel it. It's already here. But when I say I'm becoming the person, the reason why I say that is we never receive a thing that we're not ready to receive. See, so many people have dreams and aspirations and goals, and they get frustrated that it's not coming in. And the reason why, it's never about the thing that's coming in, it's about the person you need to become, right? So, what I love the most when you said that, one of my initial thoughts was right where I'm at. And what I mean by that is, I'm so in love with the curiosity of discovering more of who I am. And what I want for me is what I want for everyone else, right? What I want for me is what I want for everybody else because I really, really think that this entire journey of life is really learning how to unconditionally love every aspect of yourself, every aspect. And in doing so, you learn to love on others. Because what most people don't realize is they judge other people. They judge other people. But in that moment of judgment, what's really happening is that they have so many judgments of themselves inside of them. Everything outside of you exists because it's already inside of you. You cannot experience anything, see, hear, smell, taste, or touch any experience outside of you that is not inside of you. So, can you imagine when we learn what unconditional love really feels like and means? Because for so long, Brian, I did not know that. You know, one of the things that came into my life that taught me, my puppy's about to be 3 years old. And 3 years ago, they say that the teacher comes when the student is ready. And the teacher showed up in the form of a dog. My daughter wanted a dog for like 6 years, and I wasn't ready to have one. And she created a vision board. And in her vision board, she put all the pictures, and she literally had a picture of this dog, like 6 different types, but it was all the same color, the same one. 2 months later, that dog ended up in our house, and her name is Cammy.
Cammy?
Cammy, Camille Athena Swerk. And it's so amazing because it was my oldest daughter that really wanted the dog. But it really came as my teacher because my heart opened up and I was like, what am I feeling? What am I experiencing? And I realized I didn't even know what unconditional love was. And then once we become aware of something, our focus starts to expand on it. And I realized that I was putting conditional love on other people, on myself. When people didn't show up the way I wanted them to show up, I would get aggravated, frustrated, I would get mad, right? Whether it was my children, my husband, I would get mad if I didn't show up or if I didn't do something that I wanted to do. See, we have layers of judgment that we're not even aware of. So when I speak about unconditional love and the way I say, like, yes, intentionally, consciously, I unconditionally love everyone. In the cells of my body, when I observe myself as the observer, I can feel emotions stick up, which tells me that I am in judgment and I lean into it and I want to expand it and grow it because I want to release it out of my body because I really want to feel and know and just keep elevating into that unconditional love. of
So,
acceptance and allowance.
what did the dog teach you?
Unconditional love.
I don't think did you ever meet my baby girl, my
I don't
dog?
think, I don't think so.
She was a 120-pound Rottweiler.
No.
Yeah, she broke my heart. I remember the instant moment. She was a puppy, and it was raining outside, and it was cold, autumn night, and she had to go to the bathroom. So I took her out, standing in the rain, holding the umbrella over her. It's like,
You love her so much.
okay, well, I see where this is going.
It's
And yeah,
amazing.
she was my baby girl. So, and yeah, I'm
Amazing.
not ready for another Roxy in my life because I can't do it here.
Yeah.
You hit on something so important, and I just want to put a spotlight back on it. You said nothing happens to us that we're not ready for. And I write in my journal, and I'll go back every 2 or 3 weeks and I'll look for the sentence because I write the exact same sentence and then I underline it. I will continue to be the person that will attract abundance, health, wealth, prosperity, the relationships, the love, the passion into my life. And what does that mean? You'll, like someone watching this podcast will say, wow, Yun Ri did 88 units. I would want to do that someday. Hold that thought for a second, because with that, Yun Ri had to elevate herself to a level of responsibility to do that 88 units. Don't be thinking you're going to be eating Doritos, watching Netflix, and 88 units is going to fall on your lap. You need to become that person to accept that gift. And if you're not that person yet, start working on it.
You said it's so powerful, so powerful. See, what most people don't realize, they will have these dreams and aspirations, and they don't even know that it's their current habits that's actually holding them back from obtaining it,
Right, right.
right? Our most precious commodity is our energy.
Yeah,
So where are we putting that focus to exert our energy? You know, so many people are living the days of the routine. And I know we're wrapping this up, but think about the energy, and that energy has to get expressed, which is why so many people are addicted, whether they're addicted to watching TV all the time, addicted to food, addicted to drugs, addicted to something, because that energy gets out. Can you imagine being addicted to the curiosity of discovering you? Can you imagine being addicted to serving? Can you imagine sending that energy, right? Taking that energy that we're exerting in areas that do not serve us and pointing it to areas that do serve us. Because in order for us to go after something, we have to be willing to release something to create the space to receive it.
right.
We can't be the same person and expect to receive something different, right? We have to be willing to let go of something and create spaces and go into something more positive that's going to attract, because we are truly electromagnetic beings, meaning we think. And when we think, we send messages out. But magnetic is our heart and our feels, right? So we attract back in, and our heart is more than 5,000 times greater. So it's not just in the consciousness, it's in the subconscious cells of our body. And it's becoming that person, tapping into your heart and really leaning in and creating the practices and the habits that are going to serve you.
Habits. So if I'm stuck on that couch watching Netflix, not that there's anything bad with Netflix, but I'm holding on to those bad habits, nothing can get put in my hand. But if I open my hand and release those bad habits, not only is my hand now empty, but other good things can be put into my hand.
A gazillion percent. That's laws of the universe.
I like that. A zillion percent.
A
My
gazillion.
gazillion.
By the way, I just want to let you know, as we're sitting here, there's a robin that just keeps knocking on our window, and we just keep, there's a lot of birds, but a robin is all about rebirth. And so just anybody that's listening, There are no coincidences. You didn't come across this because by accident. Listen to it and know that this is your also time for rebirth and transformation and for you to launch into your truth and all the abundance that does exist. The lack, the fear, the scarcity, all of that have been programmed under survival. We don't need that anymore. Let go of these beliefs, right? Let go and start doing the work and get in tune with yourself and really start experiencing the truth of that exists, which is abundance, love, and you do it with faith, like true faith.
Thank you, Yunri.
Thank you.
I think that Robin is knocking on my head saying, hey, and it's a process, right? You don't lose 100 pounds overnight. It's a process, and it's dedication and determination and a vision and all these things. And we are going to wrap this up because I got to talk to you. So this has been wonderful. 100th episode. You absolutely crushed it. And I'm going to keep this as one episode. I'm not splitting it into two because, this is good stuff. And it's all coming from your heart. So thank you. So if any of our listeners, anyone on the show today wanted to reach out to you, get more information, find out how they could find themselves, how can they find you?
You can just look me up, Yunri. I have a website, yunri.co. Also, the Elevated Human Experience. You Google it, you're going to find me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. But just go to my website. Yeah, just type it in and you'll find me. And then just send a message.
A gazillion.
I'm here to serve. I'm really here to serve. And it really is energy, right? So just connecting with the energy, even our community, like just connecting with the energy, you start feeling it and then experiencing it. The feeling is the secret. Like Neville Goddard said, the feeling is the secret.
A gazillion %.
Yes.
I cannot thank you enough. I was so looking forward to this, and you exceeded any expectations I had on this show. We laughed, we cried, we dreamed together, and I'm just really excited. And after this show, I've got some things that I'm going to do for myself to make a difference. So thank you for bringing me there.
Well, thank you for being an impact in my life. As you know, being the president of the Northern Worcester County Landlord Association, when we first starting off, you taught us so much. And seeing you here now, like all the listeners, keep following Brian, keep asking him great questions. He's a great teacher. Just listen and take action.
Beautiful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all of my real estate peeps and rock stars, we're wrapping up another show. Yunri Swerk, thank you so much for bringing it. Any last words?
Just thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so grateful and honored.
The pleasure has been all mine. Thank you again. Yellow to yellow. Thank you. So again, all my real estate peeps, my real estate rock stars, entrepreneurs, everyone on the show today. This is Brian Lucier from the Why Not Real Estate Podcast signing off, and we'll see you on the next one.